What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome back to another edition of MVP Sports Live right here on Twitch.tv. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And Dave, we got four topics. Not a jam-packed show, but the quality of topics.
Heavy hitters. There's some heavy hitters today.
This is not like this, we're not like your 4th of July barbecue where it's like, we got some brats, some burgers, some hot dogs. Dude. We got a lot. This is like, okay, you're getting a 3-course meal. 3 courses.
4th of July, and you start naming all the going foods. I'm like, I miss that. I want to eat
Dave's like, I didn't get that this year.
And a brat over a 9-hour course of just grazing at a barbecue.
The thing that we didn't get to do, Dave, this year because of COVID bad, is go to a minor league baseball game and eat 10 hot dogs for $5.
I know, dude. I cannot wait to go watch. What's their name? Are they the Windy City still?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
because
I actually
Frontier League,
check out. I want to go there, but I also want to check out the one that's up in Rosemont by O'Hare.
So that's that is the who plays there? The Bandits play there for softball, and I think they're the Dogs.
I drove past it 25 times. I swear,
because I know the Bandits play there. The Chicago Bandits, which is the softball league. Let me see if I can find what that stadium is.
The stadium literally backs up to 294 Major Highway here in Chicago suburbs.
It looks like a great Parkway Bank Sports Complex.
Yeah, it looks super nice. I watched it get built in front of me basically, and would love to do some food, some hanging out. Minor league baseball is a treasure. It's dirt cheap.
I'm sorry, it's now Impact Field.
Ooh, Impact, I like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. So okay,
we're gonna tour.
It's the Chicago Bandits, the fast pitch softball team, and then the Independent League Baseball, the Chicago Dogs.
I love it.
And their logo is a hot dog.
When COVID has gotten a cure next year, if they do a minor league season, we are going to go through the Frontier League.
I want to.
We're gonna tour the stadium.
So you've got right around us. You've got Joliet has the Slammers. In the suburbs have the Thunderbolts. We did not go to the Slammers. You're thinking the Corn Belters. Normal.
Oh, we went to Normal.
Yeah, we went to Normal for the Corn Belters.
The All-Star game, right?
Yep, the All-Star game.
That was sick.
There's one in St. Louis that I think is in the bad part of St. Louis, but
East St. St. Louis?
It's in St. Louis. I remember because
there's East St. Louis is the bad part, but it's in Illinois.
That's
St. Louis
Southern.
proper.
I think that's the Southern Illinois Miners. Yeah, Southern Illinois Miners.
East St. Louis.
Yes, I think it's in the Illinois part of St. Louis.
Yep,
it's in Marion, Illinois, is where it's at, right by St. Louis.
Yeah, it could be that.
I remember because I used to talk to the play-by-play announcer for them, and he was like, "Yeah, it's not the best area." We actually, when we went to Tennessee to see Johnny, we passed by the Florence Freedom in Florence, Kentucky.
We did see that.
We passed by that stadium. I'm trying to think who else. There's the Lake Erie Crushers, the Beach Bums in Traverse City.
Yep.
Lake Erie Crushers. That's in Ohio, I think. Right?
Yeah, because it's Lake Erie, so you got to go. Pennsylvania,
Lake Erie
Ohio.
Crusher. There is one in Pennsylvania. I think that's the Washington Wild Things.
We'll knock it off the list. But yeah, minor league baseball games. Schaumburg Flyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Avon, Ohio is the Crushers.
Yeah.
Avon, Ohio. And then I think, the Washington Wild Things. I think that's Pennsylvania. I'm looking it up because otherwise it's going to drive me crazy the rest of the show. They are in Washington Wild Things. Yeah, Washington, Pennsylvania. Because for a second I was like, shit, are they in the actual?
Oh no.
Cut. That was a microphone thing. You can't hear me?
There you go. Now you're back.
Okay. Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah, my microphone got cut.
You sound deep.
It got a little.
No, you still sound bad.
How about now? Is it different? Cool. Yeah, I just unplugged it completely. It did that thing where it unplugged, kind of. But yeah, there's
audio are out of sync though.
Am I?
Am I? There's a delay.
Oh, okay. I mean, on mine it doesn't show 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is the content you want to see. Fuck it. We're going to have to deal with that shit.
Okay.
The Schaumburg. Oh, no, not the Schaumburg Flyers. The Schaumburg Boomers, too. There's one in Schaumburg.
Okay.
We went to Schaumburg. That's right. We did go to Schaumburg. We were there. Shit. You sound like Will Ferrell.
That's
But
awesome.
welcome into this MVP Sports Live. You're probably thinking, wow, this is a pretty cool show. We got a lot to talk about today in the sports world. Before we do, though, Discord, join it. Link down below. Or exclamation Discord into Twitch chat. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. You can also sub to us on Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday. Twitch.tv/MVPvids. And we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports. But Dave, before we get into everything, a little follow-up from yesterday. So yesterday's conversation is going to go up on YouTube because, fuck it, we talked about trades, but really a team that would have traded for him is still going to sign him, even though he got released. But Jets doing Jet things, and they're like, hey, we're going to try to trade Le'Veon. Well, fuck it, we'll just release him anyways. Literally an hour and a half after we ended the show, Adam Schefter, Jets have released Le'Veon Bell. Why is this organization bad? That's where I'm at. Why is this organization bad? Yeah.
So, again, Jets just don't want to have good people on their team. I don't know if Moncrief is really good anymore, but
I mean, he was good on the Colts.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was good a while back. Who knows if he still has talent. Le'Veon Bell definitely going to sign with a winner for like the minimum and make the Jets pay the remainder of his contract out this year. So good for him. I expect to see Patriots, Chiefs, Seahawks. Buccaneers, Seahawks, Bears,
teams that
any
have
of those
room.
top contender teams, because minimum contract, you get them. Why not?
I mean, yeah. Even if you're like fucking like running back by committee, even if it's like
great.
Yeah, even if you have to do like what the Saints did when they had Kamara and Ingram, and you're running both running backs.
He's a guy who, yes, he's a running back, but he's a screen pass monster. He's a slot receiver. Like, use him in the right way, not in the way that Adam Gase did, and you'll be fine. Yeah,
that's why I think, like, yet again, I'm going Bears. I think Matt Nagy can use him well. The only thing is, are him and Montgomery too similar of players out there?
He's a way better pass catcher, way better speed. Montgomery's bigger physically.
I mean, Montgomery can catch the ball, but you're right with the whole speed.
Le'Veon Bell was literally the best pass catching running back in football. Yeah. He was better than Alvin Kamara. Like,
he was Alvin Kamara before Alvin Kamara did.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was the guy, and he's only like a year and a half removed from that. So yeah, let's not say he's falling off a cliff here.
But Dave, our first real story for today. Our first two stories. Breaking news, literally the first one broke right as Soapy and I were starting MVP Games Live. And the second one broke literally right as we ended MVP Games Live. The first one, Dave, this one's going to shock the college world. It's going to kind of send some ripples through the college world. Nick Saban has tested positive for COVID-19. Not just Nick Saban, but also their AD, Greg Bryan, as well. This is from ESPN. Alabama coach Nick Saban tested positive for COVID-19 on Wednesday and is self-isolating at home while continuing to oversee his team's practices via Zoom. Because, you never quit.
It's Alabama. They've got cameras everywhere.
Alabama AD Greg Bryan also tested positive Wednesday. I found out earlier this afternoon that I had tested positive, Saban said in a statement. I immediately left work and isolated at home. At this time, I do not have any symptoms related to COVID, but I have taken another PCR test to confirm my diagnostics. Saban later reiterated in a Zoom call with reporters Wednesday evening that he felt fine and was very surprised by this. Saban is 68 years old, by the way. Dave, what are your thoughts on this as Alabama getting ready for their biggest game of the season, one of their biggest games of the season? They've got Georgia this weekend. I mentioned it to you, I think, on Monday. Like, holy shit, we've got Alabama, Georgia in primetime this weekend. What are your thoughts on this and how it could affect the college football season and Alabama season?
Yep. I mean, two things to take away. One, I'm happy to hear that Nick Saban's feeling well and might be in a position where he is asymptomatic, so he doesn't actually have to deal with what happens to a lot of people when they get COVID-19. So that's good news. The bad news is that obviously he can't be there to be, hands-on coaching. But at the same time, I wonder how many of his players may test positive because of how close in contact everyone is to Nick Saban. So I know the testing procedure on college campuses is one thing. I don't quite know what the college team testing standard is, if they're tested on like Friday and Saturday, or if it's a daily test for those kids. That's one thing I'm not 100% sure. I think that might vary school to school from what I've seen. So if they're not getting daily tests like NFL players are, and they're getting like just kind of pre-day testing before game day and then on game day, then we'll see what the situation is. But I would expect to see a couple more people from Alabama drop into that self-isolation and COVID, safety testing kind of stuff.
So right here, I pulled up it's from the SEC, their medical guidance task force requirements for COVID-19 management.
Yep.
Let's see if they've got anything in here on testing. Okay, right here. But, these requirements are based on currently available information, the requirements and testing strategies. If I find exactly what it is, I'll let you know, Dave.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking through it.
What I was going with was the fact that, again, maybe this will be a wake-up call. This is the biggest team in college football outside of Clemson, and had been the biggest team in college football for the last decade, the most dominant team in college football for the last decade. Like, Alabama football is SEC football at this point in time. So if a team like this gets struck with COVID and it could spread, God forbid, to these players, like, is this a wake-up call? Will they actually be like, hey, maybe we should just put the brakes on the football a little bit here. People, maybe their big priorities in life, like not having a disease that could have lifelong effects. At best case, where you have scar tissue damage to your lungs, heart, anything else, other internal organs, like all the potential horrible outcomes that could come from this. I'm really hoping that they're like, maybe we should just chill on college football a little bit here. I'm not a hater of college football. In fact, I love it, but I just can't see the logic in being like, we got to just plow through the disease, Yeah. Technology exists, but we're just going to put our fingers in our ears and just ignore what's going on.
You forgot one important step there, Dave. After you put the fingers in, you got to go, la, 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 la. I can't hear you. But for me, it's like the thing I still worry about is like, first off, I want to second what you first said. Is like, it's great that Nick Saban is feeling fine. It's not like having a fever or anything. And obviously we want Nick Saban to recover. But like, there's a thing to me where it's like, when I see, that he felt fine and was surprised by this, I think back to when Trump got COVID, everyone brought this up, the Herman Cain timeline, where it was like, how many times did we hear, I feel fine, I feel like I'm getting better, and then boom, dead. To where it's like, this is not something that I kind of get where the people come from, where they're like, you can't live in fear. I get that. Like, if you get COVID, it shouldn't be like oh my God, I'm going to die. It's well, let's fight this. Let's see what happens with it. But at the same time, this is not something that we should be just kind of willy-nilly playing with. And like, I hope this sends a message of, no one is immune to this. It's kind of like, I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's kind of like the line that my mom always says. So my mom would always say the line, and still does, that it's bullets have no name. Well, same thing with COVID. COVID has no name. It doesn't sit there and go, I'm going to target you and then you, but I'm going to skip you because I like you, so I'm not going to go there. Anyone can contract it. And I have a feeling that this is going to do nothing to stop the college football season. It's just going to be Georgia, Alabama will probably be like, if multiple players test positive, Georgia, Alabama will be postponed. They'll play it later. And then the college football season will keep going on. But like, this is something that we're seeing in the NFL. Teams are getting contracted. Now we have the LSU Florida game is canceled because of this, because Florida has an outbreak. You have Baylor has had an outbreak. They have to postpone a game. What was it? Vandy had to postpone a game. That's what we talked about yesterday. Like, we're seeing all these games now being postponed. When does it get to the point where it's like, all right, guys, I know we want to play football, but like, we can't do it.
No,
we can't do this because
I swear, dude, it's you need to have it. And again, I feel horrible for saying this, but it is what is going to be necessary for people to wake up. Is you need to have a named person die. Like, if someone of consequence is irreparably harmed or dies to the disease in their community, in their world, then they will respect it. But like, until that happens, people are just so easy to be like, that has happened to me, has happened to my family, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well,
that seems to be the mentality of so many people in this country, and it hurts everyone because they have that mentality.
Yeah. And it's just like, and of course, we're not like, when you say that, it's like, I have to say this because there are going to be people that comment because they don't have this thought. They don't have the tool in their head, which is called, I don't know if it's logic or just reasoning of common like sense. Just because Dave says that, Dave is not wishing ill will on Nick Saban.
No, I'm just saying that I think that's the only way people would wake up.
I have to put that out there though, because there's somebody out there that's already typing that's like, Dave said this, so he wants Nick Saban to die. No, that's not what we're saying. But
if the impact of a Nick Saban dying makes college football stop, I would actually I would connect those two dots.
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
well, because he's the god, like he is the god of college football right now.
Yeah,
he is the top name. Like I said to Soapy, yet again, kind of as a joke because of how popular Nick Saban is. It's like most influential person to get COVID right now, or the bigger name, Trump or Nick Saban. Like, some people might hold Nick Saban on a higher value than they do even the president of the United States. So like, this is something that I feel like the other way that will make this interesting is if, let's say this game is postponed, let's say it does not happen at all. Like, they're not even able to get it in. And then Alabama misses the playoffs or Georgia misses the playoffs because they didn't play this game. And like, how much of a situation is that going to create to where it's like, well, wouldn't have had this problem if, we just didn't play football at all. But like you said, maybe it's going to take something drastic like a big name dying for shit to change. It doesn't have to be a big name. It's just someone in their community, someone in their world. Because I was reading through one of the interviews they did with someone who had been a big proponent of like, this is all a hoax, all this shit. And he'd been on multiple news networks saying this. And he actually had I think 2 members of his family had passed away from a party. I think I watched the same one. It was CNN, right?
Yeah. And it was like, hearing him talk about it after the fact, it's like, okay, this is real. And it's personally affected my life and altered, the lives of everyone I know. And now I understand. And it's just like, I wish people could get there without that happening. Yeah. And that's all I'm saying is it seems like that seems to be the only way for people who have been ignoring what's been going on in our country for the past 6 months, 8 months, whatever we're at now. I've lost track because I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It seems to be that is what happens. They will choose to believe what they want to believe until someone they know and, affects their life is unfortunately struck down with this disease. And then all of a sudden they take it seriously. Okay. Yeah. It's terrible that that's where we're at as a country, but like, there is many cases of this happening.
Because I remember that vividly because I was telling my mom about it because if it's the same video I'm thinking of, they had a get together of 6 people in the family. And that turned into 14 total people in their family catching the virus and 2 of them dying. To the fact where hearing him say like, yeah, when my dad was in the hospital, the one day he was just talking to him on the phone, felt fine. We were joking around. It's like, okay, everything's okay. That night his dad's on a ventilator. And that's how quickly things turned with it to where, like you said.
Very serious. Like, that's the thing. It's just people don't seem to grasp that until it hits them personally.
Hey, my family and me are supermen. We're not going to get sick by it. Blah, blah, blah. That's what people think until it happens. And it's like, oh, shit. We're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle at this point. But we'll have to see where that all plays out at the end. Dave, the other breaking news that we had today, completely different than COVID, is Conor McGregor. He's back, Dave. He's back. We're officially getting a Conor McGregor fight. So right before the show today, Conor McGregor, as the ESPN article says, Conor McGregor is in. McGregor revealed on Twitter that he has accepted a January 23 fight against, and I'm going to fuck up this name, the Dustin Poirier, right? Is that how you say it? Poirier? Yeah. However, he also said he wanted the fight to happen at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is a friend, and the stadium can hold our crowd, McGregor said in his tweet. I will be ready for Texas, and Texas will be ready for my fans. Then Manny, because he wants to also box Manny Pacquiao.
Well, that's because he made more money than ever boxing Floyd Mayweather and getting his butt kicked. So, of course, he's like, I'll take another boxing payday. I love that. Yeah.
Dave, what are your thoughts on this and what it could mean for... does this mean... Because right now, Poirier is the number 2 right behind Khabib. Or no, I'm sorry. He's right behind... Justin Gaethje, Gaethje, that's how you say it. Gaethje is the right now the number 1 contender for Khabib's lightweight belt. Poirier is right now number 2. Conor McGregor is at 5, so of course you got Hooker and Ferguson above him. Is this just a, hey, I want a payday, Poirier wanted to fight, if I move up in the rankings, great? Or is this a Conor McGregor testing the waters? If he wins this fight, could it lead to a Khabib-Conor Part 2 payday?
Let me just check something real quick.
And I know Khabib is, yet again, can't leave where he is, so it's like we're not going to get that anytime soon.
Yeah, so what I have to look at when you look at this fight is, no, it's not just a payday. This is a very legitimate shot of he wants to go after a title again, and he needs to beat someone of notoriety. Beating Cowboy didn't mean anything. Yeah. Cowboy had been on I think a 3-loss streak or a 4-loss streak. His fight prior to this one, he had been knocked unconscious and had flipped around within a matter of months after that concussion. And it's like, yeah, no, there's no way he had his head on his shoulders at that point. Like, he was just fighting every chance he got because that's who Cowboy is. And people love Cowboy for that. So I don't have a problem with it, but it's like, it didn't have any weight to it. It was like, oh, he can still fight. He knocked him out with a shoulder strike like this. This was a knockout hit. Like, I'm sorry. That's
Cowboy's last win was May of 2019.
Yeah. And after that, how many losses?
So after that, he lost to Ferguson. That was a KO, TKO. Then he lost to Gaethje, KO, TKO. Then he lost to Conor McGregor, KO, TKO. Then Anthony Pettis, which was a decision.
Let's just take those 3. Yeah. What was the time between loss number 1 and Conor's?
Loss number 1 was 5. It took 2 rounds. He got knocked out in
months.
So June of 2019 to January of 2020. So half a year. So
literally 7 months.
Yeah.
He had 7 months total. Like, he got knocked out twice in the prior couple of months. Yeah. And there's no way he would have had his head on straight during that fight. Hey, you got to rebuild your chin. You got to rebuild that ability to take a blow and stay conscious. And he didn't have that at that point. So, again, there was no weight in that fight as far as Conor McGregor value-wise was concerned. So you look at Poirier and you go, okay, well, he beat Hooker, and he is, again, a top fighter. I would love to see Max versus Conor again. I think that would have been a fucking fantastic fight. But Dustin and him provide some good fights. Should be interesting to see. I still don't know that I would love to. I wonder which is the favorite. I mean, in my mind, Dustin's the better fighter. Dustin, we've seen fight June 27th of 2020 versus Hooker, and Conor obviously was in January. You said so. Yeah, he's fought more recently, but I just don't. I don't know. If anyone can pull it off, it's Conor. Like, that's the thing. As much as I don't love this man, you have to respect the fact that he has got some dumb power in his arm. He can just shut someone down in a blink of an eye. So you can't take him lightly, but at the same time, he's by no means a favorite in this fight. And I do expect Dustin to win out.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing of like the only 2 times recently, I say recently, and this is like 4 years ago, for Conor, where you have the biggest gaps in his fights. Number 1 was December of 2015. He beat Jose Aldo. Then in March of 2016, we had him and Diaz. I think that was him and Diaz part 2 because it was the 1-1 tie going into the third one. He lost that one in March, but then in August of that year, beat Diaz for the McGregor-Diaz part 3. The other gap was he beat Eddie Alvarez on November of 2016. Hadn't fought again for for almost 2 years, where his next fight was on October 6, 2018, when he lost to Khabib. And then yet again took another 2-year break, but the opponent he was coming back against, Cowboy, like you mentioned, it wasn't the level of what Diaz was in 2016. It wasn't the level of what Khabib was when he faced him, to where is this going to be Conor comes back, Conor dominates, or will it be, hey, Dustin is on a different level than what Cowboy was. This could be an actual fight for Conor.
It should
McGregor.
be an actual fight. That's my expectation. This will actually go a couple of rounds. We'll get to see where Conor's at, because I've heard so much about him and his training and everything about how he feels like he's in the best shape. He's got the best balance in his life.
Yeah.
So I'm all about that, and I think it's great that he is like refocused in on fighting. But I do look at it and just go like, yeah, but where are you actually at in ring skill? Like, there's a difference between training camp and then once you get in that ring, and we'll see. Honestly, it's just we'll see. I don't have one way or the other. I just think Justin should be the favorite, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. I know you say that you are not a Conor McGregor fan. Outside the ring, I'm not defending anything Conor does. He's done some stupid shit, like fucking throwing a chair at a bus.
Like,
come on,
crimes.
bro. And committing crimes, allegedly. But
no, not allegedly.
There was the recent one that everyone was talking about was allegedly, because he was questioned and then released. So people are like, oh, he's not being charged. So that's why I'll throw the allegedly word that we love to
on
throw
that
around
one,
with.
but the others.
Oh yeah, no, the other ones, yeah. But I'm talking about for me, the allegedly is at the last one is what I'm throwing out at. But in the ring, I love Conor McGregor as a UFC fighter. I love to watch him fight. I love to watch him knock people out. It's the best thing in the world. So I'm excited for this, and I'm assuming if COVID is over, we'll be watching that. Even if it's not over, maybe do a watch along for fucking that UFC. The other interesting thing is that he wants to do it in front of a live crowd, which I'm like, Fight Island's a thing, man. We can just do it on Fight Island.
Nope. He wants the people there. He wants the payday. He wants the vibe. He wants the energy. He wants the Irish crowd. Like,
but COVID.
No, that's why I said Texas, right?
Yeah, true. Texas, where they're actually letting
if it's
people.
not Florida, it's Texas.
Yeah,
like, let's be honest.
Good point. Just follow the SEC or the Big 12. They'll never steer you wrong, right? Yeah, or that follow the death count. Dave, let's move into a segment we love to do, though, here on MVP Sports Live. These are the dampest of dudes, soggiest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes the mistiest of misses. These are our wet boys. These are our players of the day from the day prior. How we do it is Dave picks a player, I pick a player, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids. They get to also pick a player as well. So come and support us at the silver above tier if you want to get in on the action of picking a wet boy each and every day. But Dave, we had some games go on last night. We had a couple things going on. Who's your wet boy October 14th, 2020?
My wet boy today is Ryan Tannehill. Perhaps the least notoriety, great performing quarterback in the NFL. Since he's been the starter of the Tennessee Titans, he's had on par or greater than results. Then guess who?
Not Aaron Rodgers.
Pat Mahomes.
Oh, Pat Mahomes. Okay. I was thinking, I was like, is Dave going to go Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson on me here?
Pat Mahomes, he's been better than Pat Mahomes. You think about that. That's dumb. That's a system quarterback, a guy who relies on his run game, and all he's done is outperform Pat Mahomes.
And I think he almost beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. Wasn't the Titans game the one where they led going into halftime and then Pat Mahomes was like, oh, wait, I'm fucking Pat Mahomes?
Might be. But the point being that he's been excellent, and he was excellent again last night. Hooked up with my boy Jonnu for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out, I have the number 1 and 2 tight ends in fantasy football in our ESPN league.
In the ESPN league?
Yep. Got Kelsey and Jonnu. Like,
hey, man, once my tight end plays a couple more games, he'll shoot back up there.
I'm just saying, 1-2. So, no, it's just it's fun seeing what he does out there, and because of the balance of that offense, he gets some great looks. Defenses have to respect the run game, which means he can pick them apart. And this is just yet another nail in the coffin. Adam Gase is a stooge because he's never looked this good when he was on the Dolphins. Never been able to succeed at this level until he's on a good team with a good coaching staff, good organization. So shout out to the Titans. Putting your faith in this man over the number 2 overall pick in Marcus Mariota, who obviously, I mean, I wish the best for him. He's had some weird health issues that have prevented him in his career. But obviously Ryan Tannehill is just on a different level right now.
Yeah, and looking back, it was the AFC Championship game where Tennessee jumped out 10-0 on the Chiefs. Chiefs came back, made it 10-7. Then they're like, hey, we're going to score another touchdown, 17-7, before they just let the fucking Chiefs run away with it, and they lost 35-24. Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl last year. My wet boy, Dave, coming from baseball, and this is a team that I will say kind of shocking me right now because I didn't expect them to. I expected if the Cubs played them, the Cubs would have beat them. But hey, I didn't know that the Cubs couldn't even beat the Marlins. So maybe they don't deserve.
I told you the Marlins were going to be there.
Maybe the Cubs didn't even deserve to play this team. But the Atlanta Braves are hot. And as I look at it right now, Dave, holy shit. The score in Game 3 where the Braves lead 2-0, bottom of the 4th, the Dodgers are only up 15-1. The Dodgers
15-1.
Yeah, the Dodgers have said, "Fuck you, we're coming back."
That's
so they scored 11 runs in the first, Dave.
I mean,
11 in the first, 1 in the second, and then 3 more in the third.
Can you just put out? Do you just leave the pitcher in at that point?
They took the pitcher out after 2 outs. The Braves starting pitcher, Kyle Wright, only lasted 2 outs. He gave up 5 hits, 7 earned runs.
Okay.
His ERA is a 94.5 now.
Okay, so here's what you do. You take your worst pitcher and you just let him soak 8 innings.
Just soak him up.
Just soak the innings. It doesn't matter.
They
don't give up on a playoff game, but when you're down 11 runs in the first inning, you give up on a playoff game.
Yeah. The next guy, Grant Dayton, who came in, they had to pull him after 2 because he gave up 8 more runs on 8 more hits.
Jesus.
So, not doing so well. And now they have, what's this guy's name? Huskar Iona. They have him in. He's been in an inning and a third, and he hasn't given up a hit yet. So maybe they found their guy for today. The Dodgers
offense is terrifying.
Yeah, fucking Corey Seager right now. 3 hits, 3 ribbies, 3 runs. about to be tomorrow's wet boy. Yeah, maybe we're getting a Dodger wet boy finally. But the Braves before this have been a good team. And Ozzie Albies is my wet boy, to where I could have given it to Freddie Freeman. He technically had more RBIs and more runs. But Albies had his lone home run came in, I want to say, the 8th inning. And he's the reason they won the game. If he doesn't hit that home run, they go ahead and lose because they gave up. They were up like 5-1, then they gave up 3 in the 9th, and they won like 5-4. They won by 1 run. His was the decision maker. So he had a home run that gave an RBI and a sac fly. Technically 5 at bats, but he went 3 for 4 because of the sac fly. Wonderful. And then Dave, the patrons, they're going the same game as you. Stats don't really scream wet boy. That's what the patrons were saying. But a
picture tells 1,000 words.
As Sean, one of our loyal patrons, said, Derrick Henry, stats might not be impressive, but he absolutely murdered Josh Norman and deserves a wet boy just for that.
Yep. I 100% agree. What he did to Josh Norman was, I think I've heard it as like the best 5-yard run I've ever seen in my life. he just introduced Josh Norman to the ground rather quickly. And again, he's a freak in nature. Like Derrick Henry is too big, too strong, too fast, and plays running back for some reason. What is he, like 6'5"? Like, how is that? What is that? How are you supposed to deal with that? Like, I laugh whenever I see Cam Newton out there making plays, and like these like 5'10" defensive backs trying to tackle him in the secondary. Like, it's funny. I'm sorry, Cam Newton's a big guy, but like Derrick Henry is just a brick shithouse, and yet he's faster than you. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do when he can do the things he does out there. So he's got no answers. He's an excellent player. He's the engine that keeps that Titans team running forward.
Next thing we're gonna move on to. I thought you had more to say. That's what I was like, and then you just cut. I was like, oh, that's the end of his thought. Also, I forgot.
I got nothing to say about this.
I forgot we have Wednesday night football today in the college football ranks going on right now, 7-7 between the Raging Cajuns and Coastal College. But Dave, we're moving on to the NBA, your wheelhouse, what Dave really loves. I'd say the NBA is Dave's number one sport.
That's why I'm here.
By far.
The rest of this shit doesn't matter too much.
And we talked Ty Lue yesterday, Dave. Could be going to the Rockets, could be going to the Clippers, could even be going to the Pelicans. And today we're looking at the Pelicans because apparently the Pelicans want to take Zion and they want to take Jackson Hayes, Dave, and they want to build a fucking wall. Because Stan Van Gundy, Dave.
You got to form
a fucking wall. That's right. We can't be going building walls. That's a different territory I don't want to get into. Someone else's job. But they want to form a fucking wall. Stan Van Gundy is emerging as one of the coaching finalists for the Pelicans. According to ESPN, Stan Van met with the Pelicans officials on Tuesday, emerging as one of the 4 expected finalists for the franchise's coaching job. Another New Orleans finalist, LA Clippers assistant Ty Lue, has a meeting set for this week, too, sources told ESPN. Van Gundy's reputation as a teacher of the game in 11-plus seasons with the Heat, Magic, and Detroit Pistons has made him a formidable candidate for a young Pelicans roster. The Pelicans, who finished 30-42 and 13th in the Western Conference last season, have a young core that includes Zion, Brandon Ingram, as well as veterans Jrue Holiday and JJ Redick. The Pelicans are expected to be a team capable of making significant progress in the standings for the next few years. Dave, what are your thoughts? And should Stan Van be the next coach of the Pelicans?
I don't love the Stan Van call. I'll be honest
do it, man. I love it. Do it.
What makes you think that he is the right guy for the job? His last coaching job was with the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
And he thought that Andre Drummond, alongside Boban Marjanovic, was a great pair.
So I'm going to bring in Piston expert here, Soapy. He said I would be recluse to mention this, and he said, I hope you mention this. That he said that basically Stan Van, when he was with the Pistons, some of Drummond's best years, production-wise. To where I look at it, I go, who's the main guy that he had with Orlando? Dwight Howard. Then he has Drummond in the Pistons, some of Drummond's best years with him. What he can do, like Zion on his own, like Zion to me is the little question mark here, because obviously with Zion, you're not going to treat him like Dwight Howard, where it's like, hey, stay down low, we'll shoot threes and just rebound them in.
That could. I mean, like, nobody can jump higher than Zion. If we're talking putbacks, Zion.
Or do you develop Zion's outside shot, work transition and threes with him, and Jackson Hayes is down low? Zion has the range, man. He's just got to work on it. He's got the form. It's there.
He hit four straight threes, I think, in his first game.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to go like 12% for the rest of the season.
The form is there. You just got to practice it.
No, it's not.
Just got to get some confidence in that shot, baby. Just got to get some confidence in that bad boy. He'll be knocking it down. He can make them. He's not going to be a lights out 3-point shooter.
If he hits at 33%, I would be surprised.
Okay.
That's my number in the list. And if he's better than 33% from 3, good on him. He's worked on his shot.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say you build this team more similar to that Orlando team than you do the Pistons. That's definitely Stan Van 1.0 was best Stan Van as far as that win rate goes. Now, you're right. I do have to give him credit. He did develop two great big men in the NBA, one better than the other, obviously, but Drummond, no slouch. It's the fact that he's literally like talked about as the guy who, if he tried all the time, he would be one of the best big men, and he try somehow.
Were his struggles on Stan Van or were they on Drummond? Because like Dwight Howard, there was a reason we were calling him Superman. Like, because he was really good.
The fact that he couldn't walk through a doorway because his shoulders were so damn wide.
And because some people liked pissing off Shaq. Because Shaq didn't like that. Shaq is like, I'm Superman, not you, buddy.
Kind of like cherry on the top right there. No argument there. But no, I mean, like, I get it. He would be an interesting mentor coach for Zion Williamson. And again, they do have guys who are willing to shoot threes on the outside with Drew Holiday and JJ Redick. Obviously, Brandon Ingram, incredible in efficiency, basically, baby KD out there. They have so much offensive talent on this team. They put a good system in place. They get someone who can teach them how to rotate on defense. That is a very good team in the West. I'm not saying they're a playoff team because I think that next year
they'll be in the running. They'll be in the running for the eighth.
And the Suns there, that is a very, very tough West. Also, Grizzlies ain't no slouch. They held down the eighth spot for the entire season and were screwed out of it by the NBA.
Yeah,
so
because of the playing game.
NBA. Yep.
Right.
Not like they earned it or anything,
Right, because the Blazers beat them twice, right?
No,
Blazers beat them once. They flipped it. That's right. They flipped it at the end. Yeah. I thought that the Grizzlies had it, but like I expect next year.
Yep.
So the Warriors enter the playoffs. So like,
Warriors are a playoff team.
So
the Clippers are a playoff team. The
Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Nuggets, Rockets, Jazz, Mavericks, Blazers. Those are all locks, and that's 8 teams right there.
You say they're all locks. We will see. Injuries happen. That's the thing. I'm
discounting the Thunder because, yet again, new coach coming in, and also if they trade CP3. Like, if CP3 stays...
if they move on from Steven Adams. They've got a lot of what-ifs on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, like you said, there are 8 established teams who could easily be playoff teams. So you have to hope that one of those teams underperforms or has bad a string of injuries. Mm-hmm. Then you have to look at the other teams like the Memphis Grizzlies, the Suns, and then the Pelicans. I think those are 3 runner-ups. Who knows what the Kings will be? Mm-hmm. They were right on the outside looking in 2 years ago after Jaeger, and now they're just shit. So they could flip it back around again as well. I think that there are 3 solid teams on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Any one of those 3 could make that jump if one of those teams struggles in the top 8, though. So, like, I think they're playoff contention, yes. I don't think they're a lock, though.
Yeah, the tweet that I saw earlier, and of course this is a random Twitter account that I saw, but it was the first kind of, hey, this is the predictions for next year. These were the Western Conference that this person had. At Icy Mitchell. There you go, you get a shout out. Number 1, the Pelicans, or number 1, the Lakers. Number 2, the Warriors. Nuggets at the 3, Clippers at the 4, Jazz at the 5, Mavericks 6, Rockets 7, Pelicans at 8. So that was that like, but that's the thing where it's like the Pelicans should be better. The Suns, what are we going to see from them this year?
We're literally the best team to end out the bubble. Like,
but yet again, was that just the bubble? Like,
no, that was them all being healthy for the first time, and they didn't have Oubre out there. Like,
good point.
They literally could have been better, and they still went on a heater of a run. Yeah. It's like when they don't have DeAndre Ayton out with a suspension, when they don't have an unhealthy Ricky Rubio, when they have all their wings back and playing, like they are an elite team.
Also, not having to the thing I think of not having to deal with travel. Just I wake up and
travel mattered for them. It was just like everything
plays a little part, like just that kind of like a little bit of a fatigue when you've got like back to backs and you're traveling between them to where it's like, it goes for everyone. Like I'm not saying this is just a Suns problem, but like I think across the board with the bubble, that was one thing it eliminated is you kind of didn't have that fatigue from traveling.
You got the purest of basketball across the board. What they did was they went out there and kicked the shit out of teams, had one of the most efficient offenses, and looked damn good on defense. So, nobody's leaving that team outside of Dario Saric, it looks like. And they already basically replaced him with Cam.
Yeah.
And I really do believe in that core going forward. So, if I'm saying like out of the 3 teams we talked about who missed out this year on the playoffs, Pels, them, and this Pels, Grizzlies, Suns.
Do you count
I'm leaning the Suns are the favorite to get in.
And like, are we totally discounting the Spurs, or are they a team just because of?
I don't know what the fuck the Spurs are, man. That's a great question.
That's the thing. They were technically right there. They were a game behind the Grizzlies. Like, it was them, the Suns, and the Grizzlies that were all in fighting for that play-in game spot.
Till we know what DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge have in store for their future, I can't say. Same with Pop. Like, Pop's going to keep coaching. Are they going to keep trying to win with Pop? Probably. So will they take DeMar back and try to add something to this team who...
Yeah.
I don't know. They need some jumps from some young kids to get that team going. Now, do they have the talent? Yeah. Keldon Johnson looked like a beast out there. Absolutely loved what he did for that Spurs team going down the stretch. Lonnie Walker could be huge. DeJounte Murray could be huge. They've got so many of these guys. Luka, not that Luka. Right? Who is it? Wait. Yeah, because they have Samanich, right? Or am I confusing him with...
The Warriors have
who is the guy on the Spurs? Fuck, this is gonna kill me now. I'm gonna look it up. Spurs roster.
Because it's Samanich is on the.
No.
Oh, Luka. Okay, I'm thinking of what's the guy I'm thinking of? Alec or Alan Sal? Fuck. Yeah, Luka Samanich.
I'm thinking of Smaljic or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I was like, no, they had other Luka. Yeah. I remember joking about other Luka for like the entire fucking time. Yeah, so he got to pop off in a couple games, and again, he looks like someone who down the road could provide some great potential. So like, they have a lot of young kids, and then they got those 2 old boys holding down the roster. So we'll see if they really do want to run it back and go for it. They could fight for it, and down the line, there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance?
And kind of the last thing I wanted to throw out there, and this is kind of a general interview thing with the NBA jobs, is so Sam Cassell, I wanted to give the heads up that he did interview with the Clippers today. Good. So he had his interview. The other thing that I find interesting is right now, like, the Sixers went out and they're like, Doc's our guy. Boom, they got him. Now we're seeing like Rockets, Clippers, and Pelicans really like ramping up searches. For some reason, is it just me that like I feel weird that it's like, what are the Pacers and Thunder doing? That we're not hearing a lot out of those camps. Like, they're doing things. I still think they're like interviewing people, but it's like, are those two going to be the jobs where, like we talked about before, the assistants, and we talked yesterday about teams being afraid of them. Yes. Are the Pacers and the Thunder going to be the team where it's like, we're just going to sit back and we'll hire one of the assistants, whichever one we interview and like the best?
I 100% think so. I think Kenny Atkinson to the Pacers actually would work a lot.
Over the assistant coach of the Chicago Bulls, Dave?
Okay, look. Overpick would take Kenny A here in a heartbeat as an assistant coach. But realistically, I do think that he should get the chance to coach an NBA team again. And I think that Pacers team would be an interesting prospect. Yeah. They've got a weird lineup, so you have to have someone with some creativity. He's known for his guard management and that guard development. So with Malcolm Brogdon there already as an established guard, it's a question of like, well, Vic's on the block apparently. What are we going to do with that? We've got to flip some pieces. We might have too many centers. There's a lot up in the air with that team, but he would be great for it. Other side, the Thunder do have Chris Paul and Alexander Walker. So, like, they've got 2 great guards already.
Yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, that one's just like, I don't know what direction they're going. They got rid of their coach, and to me that said, like, hey, we're heading in a different direction.
Yeah. Or like
they're moving on from the established pieces. They're heading full rebuild. They've got $1 billion picks over the next 6 years. Like, we're just gonna do this nice and slow and do it the right way, and we want to coach it on the same timeline. So to me, I'm going like, oh, this is an assistant job. This is a coach who's going to come in without that long tenured, like, okay, we get it, we know who you are. I want a fresh mind to come in and be able to mold these young kids coming out of college, because your average age on the team is going to be like 22, you know? So that's my take on those two teams.
Yeah, and like that's just the thing I thought about coming into today's show of like, we're not really hearing much about those two teams, but we're going to have to wait and see where these coaching searches goes, because it looks like at least for 3 of them might be ramping up to where we're actually talking about a hire sooner rather than later. And then, Dave, the last thing, switching sports, but keeping on the coaching search.
Yeah.
Your team, I know your mom's team too, because your mom's a super fan. White Sox manager search.
Yeah. Got
some things to set up before I throw the question at you. There have been tons of dialogue in the Discord. Join it! !Discord. Sam and Pat were the ones that kind of started it, of like, where did they go when Rick Renteria was mutually agreed to part ways with the White Sox. One thing that is for sure, that this is coming from SouthsideShowdown.com, and they're getting it from Rick Hahn's press conference. So that's where it's curated from. In his end of the season press conference, GM Rick Hahn wouldn't comment on any attributes that would make him hire someone, and he wouldn't name anyone that could be in consideration. All of that came with one exception, as he announced that Ozzie Guillen will not be somebody they consider for the job. He noted that Guillen has been notified about that decision out of respect for him. I know that fans were really much of like, that was the big thing of like, oh, do they actually go ahead and sign Ozzie Guillen?
Bring him back.
What are your thoughts, Dave? Should they have? Who should be the manager? What do you think's going on here?
No, I mean, like, I totally understand why we're not going back to Ozzie Guillen. That makes sense. We've been there. We've done that. We know how this ends. Not well. He's an easy to like guy when he's on your side, but he will say some dumb shit. He will make some dumb decisions, and he gets too heated with his own players. And those personal issues do transfer over on the field into some decisions that get made. So I don't need Ozzie Guillen in my clubhouse. Now, when I look at the rest of the guys, obviously we have a known cheater. At the top of many.
Two of them.
Two known.
Don't forget Alex Cora too.
Alex Cora too. So Hinch or Cora obviously are at the top of a lot of people's list because I was notable. Great coaches, but like the question is, how much is them? How much was, banging on cans?
Yeah.
Or do you go with the local route, a la the Cubs, and go after a former player of your own? Although I think Alex Cora might have played. Alex Cora's been around way too long.
Alex Cora was with the Mariners.
He's been around for. I know he was with the Mariners because I remember playing him in King.
So okay, Dave, let's play the game of he has played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams.
There we go.
We were not thinking of the right Cora. He did not play with the.
Okay. Different
Who's
Cora.
the one I'm thinking of then? Because he played. Didn't a Cora play shortstop next to A-Rod?
I thought so.
I got a Cora Mariners. I gotta look this up on the show. Joey Cora. That was Joey Cora. Joey Cora was a White Sox. Joey Cora was a White Sox and then went to the Mariners. Yep. Joey Cora was actually. Wait, I gotta look that up again. He was actually a fucking manager of the White Sox. Yeah, he was White Sox coach from 04 to 11 as well. That was his first job as a coach. But no, Alex Cora was a Dodger 98 to 04. Then with the Indians for a year before going over to Boston, where he was there for 05 to 08. Yep. Then he was with the Mets for a year, the Rangers for half a year, and then the Washington Nationals in 2011. He was with Houston as a assistant coach in 2017, then got the job with Boston. So pretty much all those cheaters coming from that Houston job or that Houston situation with AJ Hinch.
You see, I like Przinsky though. I mean, he's such a likable guy. Yeah. Took a punch for the team, as I said in Discord. How do you not respect a guy like that? You as a Cubs fan, how do you feel about going after your former guy in the locker room, the guy who brought the team together as your manager? After a year, I know it's not been long, but how do you evaluate that hire? Would you recommend that the Sox would do something similar?
Not right now. And the reason why is So I look at this team and it goes, and yet again, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm closer to the Cubs than the White Sox, so I understand the Cubs better. But like right now, all the guys like Javi, Bryant, Rizzo, these guys aren't like we're no longer looking at this Cub team as like, oh man, look at this young group of kids. Yeah, they're established now. They're an established core to where it's like we needed a Madden to come in and bring this team to where they could be, bring them up to that level, and also work with them and coach them to their potential. Whereas right now it's like with David Ross, we just need someone to be a player's coach to keep everything in line. We don't really need someone that is
job
going
at hand. You don't need guidelines. It's
these
just,
players know what to do. They're not kids. But like with the White Sox, I feel like you need that. Here's the problem though. There's no Joe Madden out there to where it's like the closest.
Where's Joe Madden now?
Yeah, the closest Joe Madden like coach you have is like AJ Hinch. If it wasn't for the cheating scandal, he'd be the perfect guy you want. He's got experience bringing a young Houston team up with that established core, bringing them up to World Series greatness. Actually has playoff experience with that team. The only thing is how much, like you said, how much was attributing to we're going to bang trash cans and learn signs of players. Maybe not as much because, the Astros are in the ALCS right now. So, I mean, maybe some people...
They did incredibly well against a couple people at certain locations. Let's just put it that way.
For me, the AJ Przinsky thing is...
Too soon.
It's just a thing of you'd be copying exactly what the Cubs are doing, and I don't know if that's the right move right now. Although I don't think he'd be
on
bad.
The same track. We talked about this about a year, 2 years ago, and we were like, how did the Cubs get out of this rut when they were like, we're stuck in the middle? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to draft this way. We're going to attack free agency this way. We're going to get our pitching staff lined up. And we're going to have these amazing bats. And I was like, okay, cool. How do the Sox go ahead and just 5 years later, let's go ahead and let's just take that strategy and just try it here real quick. So I know we talked about it, and it's like following the Cubs plan isn't necessarily a bad idea. But I do agree. I, after hearing you talk and kind of work through it, I think I'm with you in the fact that AJ, while he's got a great mind for baseball, I don't know that he's proven enough to be more than a player's kind of coach, or if he is just kind of one of those guys. I've heard him talk so much because he's been on air. He is so smart, but I don't know how he would be like in the moment, in the locker room, in the clubhouse, in the dugout kind of shit when it's on the line. Could he make that right call? So AJ Hinch, Przinsky, where did you go?
You know who would have been a great, and I had to look this up and actually, when did he agree to that extension? What's the date on the, literally. So, you know who would have been my perfect fucking guy if he didn't sign an extension in April of last year? Terry Francona. He would have literally been your Joe Madden in my mind. His contract was set to expire in 2020. Of course, that's all moot now because he has a 2-year extension through 2022. But like, he'd be like, that's the thing is like, is there a coach out there, like a manager out there that you don't want to tamper, but could a coach be like, I want to break my contract in order to go to this team? I don't think it happens. Like, we never see that. But like, that's the thing. The pool this year, or maybe it's because everyone is like forcing the pool to be so small. Like, if I had the choices of the 4 that I've seen, Jim Thome, AJ Przinsky, Alex Cora, and Hinch, I would go Hinch because he has the managerial experience. He has playoff experience. He has that World Series experience. He's got everything that you want for this job. The only thing that, yet again, him and Alex Cora should be shoo-ins for this, but it's just that dark cloud that hangs over their head, and like, we can't bring it because like the Cubs with their timeline, I had to look it up, was Renteria. I feel like, and I said this in our Discord, If let's say the White Sox sign Hinch or sign Cora or even sign AJ, and that next manager brings them to the World Series and they win it, Rick Renteria is officially the good luck Chuck of the MLB, because he is the coach you get when right after you want to sign that guy who's going to bring you to the ship. Because like the Cubs, he only had
Jackson of the NBA.
Yes, he only had 1 year with the Cubs, but like we had our core. Javi was there, Rizzo was there, Stalin Castro we thought would be our guy at shortstop of the future. Addison Russell, I believe, was in our minor leagues. That next year, we had drafted Chris Bryant. We knew that he was coming in for that. So it was like we knew we were going to have a good team. We didn't know that we'd go fucking NLCS in our first year with Joe Madden. Like, that was a surprise. But, like, I think basically because of how this year went for the White Sox, you guys overachieved. You overachieved everything just by making the playoffs. You overachieved. Yeah. And this is something that took a game. I mean, Rick Hahn does not have an easy job here, because this is the type of decision you either make the right choice and this could be a World Series contender, or you make the wrong choice and you're just a playoff bottom, not a bottom feeder. That's not the word I want to use, but you're a playoff perennial, where it's like you make the playoffs and you don't go anywhere further than that.
Yep.
Any final thoughts, Dave?
No, I agree. I think any one of these guys will be able to get us back to the playoffs, though. I'm with you there. I think that I love Tomey, love Przynski, Cora, meh, honestly. Yeah. So like, take the tenured coach. We'll go with the guy who's been there. I understand his history is not great, but at the same time, how long are you going to punch him for it? You know? Yeah. And I guarantee you, it's not all on him. He will take the blame because he was the coach, and that's totally fine. But it's not a one-man decision to do this to an entire team. Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't wait to see what the White Sox do, though, and where they go, because this is even though I'm a Cubs fan. This is a team that is just an exciting team to go. I will say. Sam hyped me up before the season started so much on this team, and now it's just like, shit, he was so right. Yeah. I will say, the one player on the White Sox I love the most is Tim Anderson, only because he's bringing fun back to baseball. He's the most exciting player in baseball. Hashtag make baseball fun again. What would that be? MBFA? Mumfa? So it's like... Mumfa? Yeah, make baseball fun again, Dave. MBFA. Right. I'm down for that. Because you got all these unwritten rules and shit that just make it so boring. And fucking stupid. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. Thank you guys for checking it out. Make sure to comment down below with anything we talked about today. Make sure to join the Discord, link down below, our exclamation Discord and Twitch chat. You can support us at patreon.com/MVPvids. You can also support us by throwing us a sub on Twitch. We're live here every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We're also on YouTube at We're on YouTube at MVP Sports. Dave and I will be back tomorrow for another great Thursday show. But as always, have a good day, everybody.